Greetings and welcome to another video. If you are a lover of football and video games combined, there's nothing that would make you happier than FIFA 21 being a phenomenal and fun game. Now you've seen me talk about offensive AI, defensive AI, shooting, passing, everything in between, all in hopes of getting the message across and seeing changes in gameplay. One of the biggest aspects of the game though that I've never truly dived into, and something that really needs revisiting gameplay wise, is tackling and the general discussion about how on God's green earth do you win the ball back in FIFA 20. I do not envy a game developer here because as much as we all want a game where every well-timed tackle works, I can only imagine how difficult it is to implement it, all the while trying to replicate a sport in which nothing is really guaranteed. That being said, tackling in FIFA 20 is an absolute mess. It has been for a while, and it's not all necessarily due to the classic tackle we're all thinking, the normal issue of the ball going back to your opponent, or somehow a tackle just not working. Don't get me wrong, that stuff is absolutely aggravating, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. We've reached new heights of ridiculousness in this aspect of the game, that is tackling, which is unfortunate given how much emphasis was put on 50-50 tackles, moments, or whatever it was advertised as pre-FIFA 20 release. So if you do watch me on stream, you'll know that I have a non-PG/vulgar way of describing exactly what I'm talking about that rhymes with rut trucking. But basically, I'm referring to the fact that somehow, some way, we live in a world where it genuinely feels like it's easier to tackle a player from behind than it is from the front. How, you ask? Honestly, man, I really do not know, but let's think about it. One potential reason, I believe, is the infamous Composure stat. We haven't always known exactly what it means and what it does, but over the years there have been explanations, one of which from EA themselves, more or less describing it as to which distance the player having the ball starts to feel pressure. The higher the stat, the less likely he is to make errors while shooting, passing. He explained it at the capture event in September of 2017, according to this Reddit post. Assuming this is even the culprit for what I'm about to show you guys, you can call me old school, but this stat is a load of horse crap. The fact that your player can start feeling weird or heavier than usual just because your opponent is nearby is outrageous. That should be purely user-driven, user-dependent, as in, if you get scared with someone near you, then you should lack composure, not the card. You should have difficulties dribbling away from incoming pressure, not the card. But whatever, that's even assuming that composure actually plays a role in what I'm about to show you. At the end of the day, it's not a new statistic. It's been in the game for years. The fact that it's insanely obnoxious now more than ever means that some way, somehow, it can be toned down to where tackling from behind isn't as absurd as it is now. After all, the situations that we're going to cover today haven't always been this bad. What you do have to understand is that there are levels to this stuff. Some of these examples look normal, and some of you will say, but Stallion, it's realistic to catch up from behind and make a tackle. Absolutely, but it's not okay that just because someone is behind me, I'm literally stuck there and I cannot move left or right, and my opponent can just freely grab the ball away as my player is stuck in mud. That's not okay. So now let's run the clips. At level 1, we have standard tackles from behind. Now, these are the ones that people look at and they react like, yo, what you talking about? Because there's nothing to see here. But those who play the game will know. Those who grind will know. Those who know the ins and outs of the game will know and will show empathy already at that level. But not to worry, we have 3 levels here today for the haters. At level 2, we've got more from behind naturally, but here we're opening Pandora's box as to why running away from a defender is a thing of the past. Are you in front of the defender? Alagi, you'll get thrown off the ball. You have a solid meter between you and the defender and want to fake shot to close the angle? Alagi, he's gonna catch up a lot of ground and bully you off the ball. So now at this point, thanks to level 2, some of the doubters turn their heads, they're now listening. But what does it really take to show absolutely everyone the power of tackling from behind? The answer, my friends, is that we show them, we welcome them to Rig City at level 3. This is the land where just because someone is behind you, you fall over to the side with no foul call, by the way. This is the land where just because someone's behind you, they literally forget the ball. If you think I was kidding, I'm telling you, they forget the ball. They have some sort of midlife crisis on the pitch and contemplate stepping off the field. And you might be thinking, oh, it's a one-off. Chief, I gathered these clips in a 2-hour stream. Give me a month and I'll have a full encyclopedia of this stuff. But nonetheless, this, my friends, is level 3. The land where just because someone is behind you, if you go left, the ball goes right. So there you have it. That's why tackling from behind in FIFA 20 and just generally being behind a player and pushing them off is so effective this year, more so than a clean tackle. And I've always gotten a ton of requests to make a video about tackling and how they fail and how you have to tackle someone 5 times, but I felt like this side of the whole thing was more important because of how weird it really all is. A well-timed tackle that bounces back is super annoying and it happens way too often, but there's not much more to it than that. We all know it, we all understand it. This, however, I feel like it could really open up a lot of people's eyes on the matter. And it just gave me a little bit more room for analysis and thinking about how to sort of portray it all. I know I'll get a lot of responses from, people saying, yo, but Stallion, if you can't tackle from behind, people in FIFA 20 are just gonna keep the ball for even longer. And I know how much of a problem possession is in this game, and I've made videos about it, but you guys have to understand that if I was to make a video that covered every single issue and how they all relate to one another and therefore how a perfect game should be, that video would be about 5 hours long. So in order to make it more digestible for YouTube, I take one topic at a time and I discuss it. It goes without saying that if it's harder to tackle from behind, there have to be other things in place that allow someone to press, and allow people not to hog the ball. That's why I often talk about adding second man pressure to add a manual element to pressing. That's why I often talk about adding, or more so removing, passing assistance and making passing a lot better so people get punished for bad passing and rewarded for manual interceptions, which all in turn would make possession a lot harder. I'll leave it at that though, because I can really get on 30 different tangents and we'll never end here. One of the next videos I make could very well be the last one for FIFA 20, critiquing an aspect of the gameplay. Now don't worry, I have other stuff coming as well on the channel before FIFA 21, but it might be my favorite one in terms of critique because it's, in my opinion, a really interesting analysis, but one that makes FIFA look closer to basketball rather than football. So that's really interesting. You'll see what I mean. That will be it for me today though, so hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know what videos you guys would like to see and I'll catch you next time. Peace.